Doncaster's 5-Minute History presents Swift Nick, a Yorkshire highwayman. This is the fictional story based on the legend of the highwayman, John Swift Nick Nevison.
You're looking very fine this evening, Mrs. Foster.
Oh, please, John, Mrs. Foster's my mother-in-law's name.
Of course, forgive me, my dear Catherine, and pour this weary traveller a tankard of ale.
Oh, you know I can't deny you anything, John. Some ale coming right up, on the house.
That's Swift Nick. I thought he died in Leicester jail.
I heard he came back from the dead. Faked his own death, he did.
He never. How'd you fool a whole jury?
Well, it's said that a doctor gave him a sleeping potion and hired a great artist to paint sores on his skin to look like the plague.
Surely somebody would check the body, look for a heartbeat, something.
Well, the jury was so convinced by the painted sores that they really did believe he had died of a plague. So they looked upon him at a very great distance, covering their noses with handkerchiefs soaked in vinegar.
How marvellous.
Incredible. It should be a fine waste in the gallows, don't you think, Sarah?
Oh, most definitely, Beth. How very handsome he is.
And such charmer too. He talked his way out of many a tricky situation. Even King Charles himself was quite taken with him, you know. And if the stories be true, Nevison is quite the ladies' man.
Nevison, get over here.
Good evening, Mr. Carter. Gentlemen.
John, these men won't believe me. They don't think it's possible to ride 220 miles in a day.
Give over. Nevison is just a braggart. No man could ride from Kent to York in 15 hours.
Catherine, another tankard of your best ale, please. And whatever these men here are drinking. In fact, ale all round, best of the barrel. Come, fellows, and I'll tell you the story of how I rode from Kent to York in less than a day, and just in time for a game of bowls, too. I was on my way up to Newark to see my good friend Thomas Tankard, when I happened upon a very wealthy gentleman and rode to Gad's Hill. The man didn't even have an armed escort. I couldn't help myself. I rode straight up to the carriage and pointed my pistol at the man. "Stand and deliver," I said. "Your money or your life." At first the man hesitated, so I shot at his mare. The horses panicked, of course, and the coach slewed round, knocking the driver out of the carriage. "Damn you, sir," the gentleman said. "Are you mad?" "So mad," I said, "as that your life shall answer me if you do not give me better satisfaction." Horses spooked and his driver down. He had no choice but to hand over all he had, which in this case was 560 guineas.
How dangerous.
You brigand! I'd like to cut constables on thee.
Dear fellow, you're more than welcome to try, but I'm afraid you would gain nothing. Stay, enjoy the ale. You're amongst friends here.
You may have fooled and even amused our king, but you'll not get away with this. Not forever.
Where were we? Ah, yes. 560 guineas. In fact, it may have been my biggest haul for months. But unfortunately, the man recognised me. This is the problem with being an infamous highwayman, you see. Anyway, I knew it was only a matter of time before the constables were sent to arrest me, so I decided to make a swift escape. I raced up to Gravesend faster than the devil could catch me, and caught the ferry across the Thames to Tilbury. I then journeyed on to Chelmsford, Cambridge and Huntingdon, but I knew they hadn't gone far enough, so I rode on until I reached the Great North Road, onto Newark and then across the whole of Nottinghamshire and carried on until I found myself in Yorkshire. I passed many coaching inns along the way, the Bluebell, the Crown, the Salutation and the Red Lion at Doncaster.
Stop here for some ale. Stop here for some ale.
But I could not stop, for 3 constables appeared behind me.
What could you do next? Surely your tired old mare could not have fled the constable's fresh horses.
You are very astute, sir. Indeed, the constable's horses were not tired like my poor mare, and I knew it was only a matter of time before they caught up with me, so I took a diversion into Pontefract. I knew the land well from my time there as a young boy, and I rode on to Thomas's Hill, where I recalled there was a very large crevice to be found there, which could help me in my escape. My memory did not fail me, for as I reached the very top of the hill we met the great crevice. My mare and I leapt across. We made a lucky and narrow escape, quite literally. The smallest of miscalculations and we would surely have fallen down. All the constable's horses refused to jump, so I turned around and said, "Good effort, sirs. I hope to race with you again soon." Then I rode on to the Great North Road and dashed up to York in time for a bath, a change of clothes, and a game of bowls with the mare.
The mare?
Indeed, my dear fellow. That is the very reason why I'm here to tell this tale. You see, the constables seized me at the York Inn just 2 days later for robbery. I was taken to trial, of course, but on this occasion I brought my new friend to court. Yes, the Lord Mayor of York himself testified that I was with him at York playing bowls at 8 p.m. And the jury acquitted me on the assumption that it was impossible the man could be at two places so remote at one and the same day.
In 1676, a highwayman, John Nevison, raced 220 miles from Gad's Hill near Rochester all the way to York, stopping for regular breaks at inns along the way. It is said that he made it in time for a wash, change of clothes, and by 8 p.m. the very same day he was playing bowls with the Mayor of York. After the trial, Nevison could not keep his clever exploits to himself. He told the story of his ride in confidence to the delight of his companions. However, instead of being arrested on what was practically a confession, he became a folk hero. This story also reached the ears of King Charles II, who had Nevison presented before him to ask him how he managed to ride all that way in a single day. Nevison replied that he had ridden so ferociously that the devil himself, Old Nick, could not have caught him. King Charles was so impressed by the clever rogue that he pardoned him and gave him the nickname of Swift Nick. Folklore suggests that Nevison continued to rob travellers and steal horses along the Great North Road and was jailed on numerous occasions for his crimes. But Nevison was a very charming, cunning man who had a great many accomplices to help him carry out elaborate escapes. While imprisoned at Leicester Jail, one of Nevison's accomplices, a painter, came and artfully painted spots on Nevison's hands, face and body to imitate the sores on plague victims. The physician was also part of the ruse. He administered a powerful sleeping potion and then pronounced Nevison dead. His body was then viewed by the jury at a considerable distance while they covered their noses with vinegar-saturated handkerchiefs. They agreed that Nevison had indeed died of the plague. Nevison was taken out in a coffin, escaping the jail and returning to a life of a highwayman, haunting the Great North Road until rumours reached the authorities that he was actually alive. Unfortunately for John Nevison, he was eventually found some years later, in 1684, and was put on trial for the murder of Constable Fletcher. The constable had been in pursuit of Nevison, and it is supposed Nevison killed him whilst resisting arrest. Apparently this was Nevison's first and only murder. On the 4th of May, 1685, Nevison was driven from prison with a coffin and hanged at Knavesmere, York, where York Racecourse is today. His body was buried in an unmarked grave in St Mary's Church in Castlegate, York. We hope you've enjoyed this 5-minute history. Doncaster's 5-minute histories are brought to you by Heritage Doncaster as part of their History, Health and Happiness programme and is funded by Arts Council England. For more of Doncaster's 5-minute histories, visit heritagedoncaster.org.uk/happy history.